ForeverFit.tv, your online source for fitness, nutrition and lifestyle. With your host, Nicola Riley, personal trainer, nutrition and lifestyle coach. Here to help you get in the best shape of your life.
Hey, welcome to ForeverFit.tv. I'm Nicola Riley, your online personal trainer, nutrition and lifestyle coach. And I am very excited. 2 years in the making, we have been doing this recipe app with all the incredible recipes that I've been doing over the last few years, and we decided we would do a recipe app. Anyway, it's a long, slow process to make one of those things, and it has finally gone live. So it is now available. I actually haven't really announced it to anyone except for you guys right now, because by the time you hear this, we would have fixed any little tweaks that we were going to be making, but it has gone live and we're absolutely blown away because we haven't really told anyone about it, and it is incredible the amount of downloads it has got already. So we are stoked that it is out there and you're able to get the recipes now, and we can't wait for you to be able to see it. So make sure you check it out. It is on iTunes. You will see it. If you just put clean eating recipes into the search bar, you will find our recipe app. It is titled 220 plus clean eating recipes, and it comes up pretty quick smart. And you also can find it, the page on my website, foreverfit.tv, and you'll see it as one of the latest posts all about the recipe app, and it'll give you a link directly to that. And I'll also put a link underneath this podcast as well, so you can check it on out and let us have, check it out and post a review of what you think about it, because it'd be really cool. And so that has got, like I said, 220 plus clean eating recipes, and that's a recipe app available for iPhones and iPads. And we are going to be then launching from that all the latest recipes. So you're going to be able to buy like packages of another 50 recipes, because as you know, I'm constantly adding new recipes to the website. So these recipes will then be added to the recipe app, but that will take, at the moment, it's just got the first 220, and then we'll be adding on to it from there. So very, very, very cool. And then in the background, I am still working away on that wee recipe book of mine that I set myself the goal of making that happen this year. So I'm going to do my darndest to make that happen. I'm not going to put it off, and it is very easy to put off with everything else that's going on, but a couple of hours here and there each week, and it is getting closer. So making that commitment to making it happen, and I will make sure that I do make that happen. Also this week we have started filming for boot camp number 2. So this kicks off later September. So that is going to be available in the online gym, and it is going to be just as cool, even bigger and better than the first one. And so we've started all the filming for that, so I can't wait to bring that to you. And right now in the online gym, everybody is on week number 2 of the yoga retreat, and it is awesome to get. I love getting all the comments of what everybody is up to and how much they're enjoying it, and just I'm getting messages each day about how it is just transforming their life, and how it's making them much more calmer, and they're really opening their eyes up to the power of yoga. So that is what I wanted to share with the yoga retreat, is just how incredible yoga can be. I wanted to be somebody who did yoga daily, and I've always done a yoga a few times a week. And since I started doing it daily and really putting more emphasis into my yoga practice, it really has changed my life, and that's why I want to create the yoga retreat for you, so that you can experience how incredible it is, and everything that surrounds practicing yoga daily as well. So that is what it's about. And if you don't have the time to practice yoga daily, that's perfectly okay, because it's about making it work for you. You might be somebody who just wants to introduce yoga into your week once per week, but you want the tools to be able to do that and the support to be able to do that. Or you might be someone who wants to add 10 minutes in a day. And so there's people who who are doing just a little bit each day, and that's what's working for them, and it's making huge changes to their life. So with everything, it's about making it work for you, bringing it into your life, and just reaping the benefits of doing what your body needs and loves. And along with the yoga retreat is also all the menus that match it, grocery lists, and getting your food right. So it's real clean, nutrient-dense, real food, allowing your body to naturally detox, and introducing things like juices and smoothies loaded with vegetables and minerals, and just spending some time to really nourish your body. And then on top of that, you've got all the meditations as well. So if you are, obviously you're listening to my podcast here, which is Forever Fit podcast, and you know I've got the Ask the Personal Trainer podcast. But if you want to have a wee taster of the meditations that are in the online yoga retreat, you can also get access to the free meditations that are part of the yoga retreat. And you'll see this on the Forever Fit website if you go to podcasts, and you can see that there are 3 different types of podcasts that I do. And so one of them there is the online yoga meditation podcast. If you can't find it there, you can also find it on iTunes as well. If you just put into the search term online yoga meditations, and you will see me come up there with the meditations as well. So there you can have a wee taste of that and just see if that's something that you want to add into your life, because I've added in doing guided meditations into my evening, and I just find it is the most coolest way to unwind from the day, and I'm quite addicted to it actually. I don't know if I'm addicted to the music or just the way that it makes me feel at the end of the day. So something very cool about making changes to your life for the better. I love biohacking is a really big word these days out there in the blogosphere and into the podcasts that I all listen to, and I love the word biohacking and designing your life and all those sorts of things. And Ben and I are trying to design our inspiring lives, and we're trying to design the perfect kind of lifestyle and biohacking our health. And so I love doing things like the meditation and yoga, and we did yoga this morning, and it was quite cool just doing it together, and it just makes you both feel awesome. And he's a big, muscly, unflexible rugby player who can't bend over very well, but he is loving doing the yoga. And luckily he doesn't listen to this podcast very much, but he is really loving doing the yoga. So if you've got a partner in your life and he hasn't tried yoga out, get him doing the yoga retreat alongside you, and just notice how awesome you both feel. Every now and then he'll do a meditation as well, but he prefers just reading, and I usually do my meditations before bed, so he's not quite to that, but he loves doing the meditations at the end of yoga. So it is there for everyone, and it's not just for the girls. It is something that is very cool just to add into your life. And I've always wanted to be someone who practices yoga, and I want to be someone who practices yoga until I'm 90 and I'm really flexible, and that's why I have started that now, because that's the type of person that I want to be. And that kind of leads me into what I want to talk to you about today, and this is the Zen Habits that I have added to the online yoga retreat. And for 21 days, those that are doing the retreat get daily Zen habits. And so I thought I would share some of those Zen habits with you today. And one of them is about pretending you are the person that you want to be. And what I mean by this is, like I said, coming back to the yoga, I always wanted to be someone who did yoga, and I loved watching people who were I loved it when I met somebody who does do yoga daily, and it is one of those things that they have a kind of inner confidence about them, sort of like almost an aura about them that I was envious of. And so I wanted to be somebody who did practice yoga daily, but practice yoga daily seriously, not just sort of dabbled in it, because I want to be able to do some of the really cool moves. And so I'm getting there, and it's just one of those things that I've always wanted to do. And so in order to do that, a really cool trick is that you just pretend you are that person that you want to be. And so knowing that I want to be that person that practices yoga, I then start to pretend to be that person. And so then before you know it, over time, you are that person that practices yoga. And so what this means is that the more you picture you are So the reason that I do this is because it's about understanding what my strengths are and what my weaknesses are and what motivates me to get towards my goals. And this is something that is really individual to the person. And so this is something that might sound a bit odd to you, or it might be something that actually works for you. So it's always about finding what works. And what motivates you might be completely different to those around you. But in order to achieve your goals, you have to know what works for you. And so you're able to use that as a tool to get yourself through to your goals that you're after. So no matter how much we improve ourselves, if you're anything like me, there's always something else that you're wanting to improve or do better, or there's a new habit that you're wanting to create, or there's something else that you're wanting to add into your life. And this is the whole philosophy of Forever Fit and what Forever Fit is about. It's about creating the best version of yourself and helping you create the life and the body and the health that you're after, so that real health. And this is a holistic health, so this means creating a happier person, a healthier person inside and out. And so that's through fitness, nutrition and lifestyle. So it's about continually improving and just getting that best version of you out there. So not comparing yourself to anybody else. It's always all about you personally. And so I'm constantly changing and tweaking my habits in order to help me reach my goals. And the problem is that I personally sometimes don't have the belief that I am that person. So for example, yoga. I didn't have the belief that I was a yogi or that person that did practice yoga daily. And so it was just something that I didn't think I was quite there, but I wanted to be that person because the same with meditation. I didn't think I was that person that would meditate daily because I sort of thought it was a bit kind of out there and not something that I could really benefit from, because I'm just, I'm far more, I don't know the word, but I wasn't quite that person that was supposed to be, that I was putting the yogi into this bracket, and I didn't think I was that person. But the more I start to design my ideal life and I start to biohack my health and I start to get myself healthier and better, the more I understand the power of yoga, the power of meditation, the power of balancing your life, and the power that these things can have on my own life, and how it can help me achieve my goals, not only in my health but in my business. So this is what I wanted to grab a hold of, but I didn't believe that I was that person. And so what I had to do in order to make this a habit is I had to grab a piece of that action. Imagine the kind of person that was already achieving that daily yoga. And so there were so many people that I look up to that do practice yoga daily, do meditate daily, and do have this kind of balanced life. And so I was sort of looking at that person and imagining myself as that person, so that I knew what sort of habits does that person do, and then I start to create those habits into my day. So then I start to pretend to be that person until I actually am that person and I'm actually doing the actions. And it's that whole fake it until you make it. When you want to be a certain type of person, you need to take the actions. And so an example of this, if you're somebody that wants to be walking daily for 30 minutes first thing in the morning before breakfast, think about the people that do this. Read about their habits, read about their lifestyle, and imagine what it is like to be them. And then think what are the choices that person has to make in order to make that action happen. Think about what it is like to be an early morning worker. Picture the clarity that it creates in your day, the energy that it builds, and imagine what it feels like each day when you get outside and you walk. Picture that person doing that action each day, and then start to picture yourself as that person doing that action each day. When you start to take the identity of that person, you start to make it your own, This is when you start being that person and doing that action, and then before you know it, you are actually that person. So just by pretending it and assuming that identity and becoming an early morning walker, you start to think like one, you start to act like one, and you start to become one. So this technique is something that I use when I want to install a new habit. I start to picture myself as that person, I imagine myself as that person, and then I become that person. So it's also really, it works for the opposite way. So it might not be an action, it might be a food choice. And so when you look at food and you're making a choice of I'm not going to eat that piece of food because it's not going to be right for me, or I'm not going to eat this food because a strong, healthy human being wouldn't eat this sort of food. So you start to assume an identity that helps you make stronger, wiser choices. So I'm not going to eat that Snickers bar, or a Forever Fit, clean eating person would not eat that Snickers bar because it's not going to make them feel fantastic, because I know that is going to make me crash, it's going to give me a massive high of sugar, it's going to make me feel yuck. Instead, I'm going to have something really nourishing that's from real food, and that's the type of choices that somebody with a smart brain that's biohacking their life, that's achieving real health, that's the type of decision that person would be making, and that's the type of identity that I'm wanting to create. So start to give yourself an identity of the person that you want to become, and start to pretend to be that person. Picture that person. What are the choices that person would make when you're stuck in a difficult situation and you're trying to make a choice between should you or shouldn't you, or the old habits are sneaking in? Assume that identity of that person that is stronger than you, that person that you're trying to become, and think about the choice that person would be making in that difficult situation that you are stuck in at this point. So see how you go. If there's a habit that you're wanting to install in your life, try pretending to be that person. And that whole thing is, we are human beings, and when you start to become that being, that's when you're able to create those habits and start to be that human being that you're wanting to be. So start to design your life. Who do you want to be and who do you want to become? So another Zen habit that I put in this week is how to lead a more simpler life. One of the big things that I've been trying to be doing is to simplify things. I went through a really busy phase for about 5 or 6 years where I was just saying yes to everything, and life was just cluttered and so much going on but getting nowhere. And so that whole busyness and rushing around, it made life really unproductive, but really busy and really unbalanced. And this is what led me down to getting quite fatigued and exhausted. And then basically over a period of 2 to 3 years, making that choice to redesign our lives and move towards another direction. And it's not something that you can do overnight. It's not about quitting your job today and hopping on a yacht tomorrow. It's about starting to work out what are your goals, what are you wanting to achieve, and then gradually over the period of years or months or weeks, you start to merge yourself towards that way. And it might mean that you decide you want to study something, so you start doing night school, or you might want to start an online business, so you start blogging, or all these sorts of things that you might want to do that you do around your normal day-to-day life at the moment, but are moving you in the right direction. So I don't like the phrase busy, and because this is something that isn't productive. And I used to use it, it's almost like a badge of honour and the perfect answer to a question when people say how you are. And I try my hardest not to use that phrase anymore. And so I'm always looking at ways that I can now create a more simpler, more balanced life. And when it comes to making choices on my business, when it comes to anything that, I'm always getting asked questions of or things I should try, and what I've learned especially with this business, is there's lots of different avenues that I could go down, and there's lots of different ways that I could do things, and I'm constantly getting persuaded to go in different avenues, but what I've learned is I want to keep it really simple, and I don't want to change too many things, because as soon as I do that, then that's when life gets too chaotic, and that's when what I am doing it gets diluted. So the one thing, my biggest thing that I focus the most on is purely like the online gym. It is my ultimate place that I try and put everything into, and I just wanted to create that into the most incredible resource for you that has everything you need to be able to transform your health inside and out, your lifestyle, your nutrition, your physical fitness, everything in there. And I'm just trying to put as much emphasis into that. But I could be creating other products if I wanted to. I could be selling more things online, and I could be doing a lot more things. But I am keeping things simple, and I'm always getting sort of persuaded and pulled in different directions, but I'm always keeping it simple. I'm pulling it back, and I know what's important to me, and I know where I want to head. And so this is something that when you learn how to keep things simple, when you know what your path is and what you're trying to achieve, and you know how you're wanting to design your life and you're wanting to do things, then choices become much simpler for you and things become much clearer. So the old me, who was busy and doing more was better, and I was doing everything. We had 3 businesses going. I was personal training, I was teaching classes, I was being paid to ride horses, I was doing everything, then flying over to Italy, and it was just ridiculous. So I like a much simpler things now and like to keep it really nice and simple. So here are some things that I have learned about living a much more simpler life. And one of the first things is the power of decluttering your home and your workspace, and how you can create more space in your mind and more productivity in your life when you declutter. And so this is decluttering in the simplest sense. It might be a simple decluttering of a drawer, or decluttering of all of those bills that are piling up, or it might be decluttering of your life when you're just being pulled in too many directions and there's just too many things going on, and you're just saying yes to too many things. And it could be that you simply learn to say no, and you declutter your diary, and so you're not being pulled all over the place. And this is the power of when you start to create a more simpler life and you start to create more space in your life. This is when you start to create more energy. And so this is why I'm talking about this, because as you know, it's about creating real health, building health from the inside out. And when you have more energy through decluttering and making a more simpler life, this is when you start to make incredible changes. And so this is like the whole biohacking your life. The other thing that is really incredibly powerful for making a more simpler life is a nice little quiet morning routine that sets you up perfectly for your day, and it is something that you really treasure each and every day. And so this might be like a crazy busy person's morning, might be something where you get up, you rush through, you grab a cup of coffee, you quickly might watch some news, flick on some Facebook, then you're out on the road, you're listening to the radio, and you are then late to work. Or you might get up half an hour earlier, you might write in your journal, you might have a really nice warm drink, you might then read something really inspiring, listen to a podcast, you might head out for a 15-minute walk, and then you might take your time and head on into work. So work out a way that you could create a more simpler, more energizing morning routine, and this is something that you'll become really something that you'll treasure. So that is one more way to slow down your day and to give yourself more time in your day by just planning a little morning routine. Another thing that can make your life more stressful and more cluttered is TV. We can spend lots of time watching TV and watching things that we don't enjoy, and we can do this. Like, I'm a big fan of TV, don't get me wrong. I'm terrible, really. I'm not going to say that could give up TV, because I do love it, and I do love my Shortland Street. But I do really try and avoid watching TV that is useless to me. Now, you might think that Shortland Street is useless, but I do quite like Shortland Street. So it's quite... But you can then watch a lot of TV that is very wasteful of your time and unproductive. And for me, I like to choose the programs that I watch. And if I can't watch it at a certain time, I will stream it at a time that works for me, or I might collect it up and then watch a couple of episodes at a time. But I watch what I want to watch instead of watching wasteful TV. And if there is nothing on TV but I really feel like just chilling out, that's when I'll watch things on YouTube and some really inspiring things on the computer, and I can put that through the TV to make that really just like a really chilled out time instead of spending more time at my computer. So using TV can be something, if you enjoy it, it can be something that can be quite relaxing, but then try and not use it mindlessly as something that is just rubbish on TV. So it can be really cluttering and distracting to what you're trying to achieve in your life. So just be really careful about what you are watching on TV and make sure that it's things that you actually enjoy and that you either relax from or you get some inspiration from. The other thing that can be really quite cluttering on your life is shopping. I am a huge fan of online shopping where I can, and any retailer out there is going to hate me for saying this, but this is the power of internet, and so online stores are fantastic. And so doing your groceries online, hunting out any other way that you can shop online and save time is an incredible way to bring more time into your day and slow down your day. So I buy all my groceries online. Whenever I'm wanting certain things, I hunt them out online and I find different resources to be able to get them. So think of ways that you can save more time and give yourself more energy. Then you can start to make time for what's important in your life, and that might mean that you put a daily routine in where you play with your kids, or that you find some extra time to spend with your partner, or some time for creating, or some extra time for exercising or doing yoga or chilling out. And you're able to push everything else aside so that you're able to make time for things that are important to you. Too often we overcommit, and overcommitting is really easy, and it's one of the worst things that you can do. And I'm terrible for this, and I'm constantly, like every week, I'm like, why did I say yes to that? Or so I've got to learn to say no, because I know what I need to have in my week. I know what I need to achieve in my week. And so it's always about making sure that you say yes to the right things and no to the things that aren't going to move you forward. And so there's always things that you can do to simplify more. So you might have all these commitments that you are saying yes to, but they're not actually helping you develop more. So work out what's important for you and what you actually need to be saying yes and what you can say no to. And sometimes it's really hard to say no to certain things, and it might take you 6 months to get rid of that commitment. But when you know you're heading in that direction, then it's really empowering when you do get there. So by saying no to some things and saying yes to what's truly important, then you're able to make choices about what's right for you. So sometimes it might mean that you've got to say no to a late night, because getting a really good night's sleep is what is important to you on that day. And that might seem really boring, but this is something that you put a lot of importance to in the way that you feel, the way that your energy is, and you want to have a fantastic day tomorrow. And I quite often am that type of person, and for me, waking up feeling energized and having a really productive day, for me to have that day, it's really important that I get a good night's sleep. And so that might mean that I do go to bed really early, and so that's important to me. So just knowing when you say yes to things and when you say no to things because of what you understand what's truly important to you. Distractions are really destructive as well, so make sure that you avoid things that are likely to pull you off track, so you know where you're heading, and set plans of what you'd like to get done each week, or download into a journal each morning, and then just get stuck into doing one thing at a time. We get overwhelmed with to-do lists and putting lots of things onto our day as well, and sometimes it's really good just to put one thing down. And there's a really great book that I've talked about by that Gary Keller, which is called One Thing, and if you're looking for a book to read these days, that is a good one to read, because it is really good to leave some emptiness in your day, but then also do that one thing that's going to make the biggest difference in your day as well. So learn the balance of making days that work for you. And some days for me, it's about lists, and some days it's about emptiness and letting the day naturally unfold, because on those days, that's when I'm sometimes the most productive, because I haven't got the pressure of the to-do list, but then on other days I need to do the to-do list, and that all balances out and turns it into really productive weeks. Then it's really important to make sure that you allow yourself time to be quiet and time just to chill out, get out of nature and relax. Buying things don't solve your problems, and neither does food, and sometimes we complicate and we make our lives more stressful by reaching for these. So learn these see if you can make some of these little wee tricks and use them as tools to make a more simpler, more relaxed life, because it's always about a balanced life where we balance things that challenge us, because being challenged is really important. So I'm not saying it's all just about simple, easy choices and making things really nice. It's really important to be challenged, and it's really important then to have the time where you do relax and you do chill out. But when you are constantly challenged and constantly pulled in all directions, a good analogy for this is like a boat sailing in an ocean. And so a boat sailing in an ocean in a storm that has no path is just being pulled from one side to the next side, and it's just being rocked all over the show, and the end result is most probably quite devastating. Whereas a ship in a storm with a direct path is more likely going to get to that path, because it knows the direction that it needs to keep heading in, and that there are going to be times when it's really smooth sailing, it's just pulling it, it's just riding through, enjoying the scenery, and then it might hit some more challenges, but the path is really clear. And so in your life, there's always going to be challenges, there's always going to be times when you're just pulled in all sorts of directions, but because you have the clarity of the mind and you know where you're heading, you're able to stay on path. You know what to say yes to, you know what to say no to, and you know what's going to keep you on that path. And if you don't know the answer, you're able just to take some time to pull back, to think about it, to spend some time understanding what's important, and then that's going to help you find the answer to that decision that you're faced with at the moment. And how this all relates to health is because if you're stressed in your mind, you're stressed in your body, and you can't create that really healthy, real health that you're after. And if you are exhausted and being pulled in all directions, then you need to simplify your life. So understand what's going on in your life and in what ways that you can make things better for yourself. And it might just mean that once a day you do some meditation, or you might do some yoga. So these are little wee cool things that are part of the online yoga retreat, and each day they are getting some Zen habits that are helping them create a more more well-rounded, energized, fulfilling life, as they're getting these daily Zen habits to their inbox, and as well as the daily yogas as well, and the meditations and all the recipes and everything too. So that is all for today's episode. I hope you got something out of that, and if you didn't, a take-home message might be that you simply work out one way. What is your path that you're wanting to head on? What is the one direction that you're wanting to head on, and what little tweaks can you make to your life to help you get on that track and stay on that track? Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you have got any questions at all, don't be afraid to let me know. Otherwise, I will see you really soon for your next episode.
Do you lack time? Are you just too busy to exercise? Do you struggle even to find the energy or the motivation to exercise? Then get ready to take your health to a new level in the comfort of your own living room. Fat-burning workouts as short as 8 minutes. Yoga routines to de-stress and sculpt and tones to help you create a lean, strong body. Learn how you can create real health and wellness with VIP nutrition and wellness advice in the online gym. Here you will find over 400 video workouts from yoga, tai chi, high-intensity interval training, sculpt and tones, mobility routines, extremes, and so much more. New workouts added weekly, along with cooking classes, menus, meal plans, webinars, and over 500 recipes to help you get in the best shape of your life. Sign up today at foreverfit.tv/online-gym.
The materials and content in this podcast are there to educate and to inform. There is no substitute for professional care by a doctor or other qualified medical professional. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services. Instead, I encourage you to discuss your options with your healthcare provider who knows your condition and your health history. Guests who speak on this podcast express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions. Nicola Riley encourages you to make your own healthcare decisions based on your research and in partnership with your qualified healthcare professional.